Hello and welcome to the channel. Now, imagine this. Imagine if Jude Bellingham signs for United. Will he and Casimero form an unstoppable midfield partnership? Yes or no? I'll tell you soon. But first, here's what you need to know about Bellingham. His stats for the season at Borussia Dortmund, how much he may cost Man United, and then how he compares to Casemiro, and ultimately what I think about the two as a midfield pair. Now, while I was researching this video, the news broke that from Spanish outlet Marca that Bellingham may sign for Real Madrid. They claim that the Liga giants are about to finalise the signing of the England international. Well, you know what the news is like anyway. I mean, it changes daily. So until he actually signs for Real Madrid, let's just assume that United are still in the race for him, because we still are. He isn't. The transfer window's not open. They may have an agreement, but he can still be talked round if United approach him and start talking to him and get things moving. So yeah, it might be a bit wishful thinking, but let's get on with the video. Bellingham is a young English midfielder who plays for Borussia Dortmund, as you know, and he's an English international. Now, he's only 19 years old, but he's already established himself as one of the best young midfielders in the world. Now, Bellingham is a versatile midfielder who can play in a variety of positions. He's most comfortable playing as a central midfielder, but, and if you didn't know this, he can also play as a defensive midfielder. So he can play and has played as a CDM. Also, obviously, an attacking midfielder. So he's known for his passing, his dribbling, and his tackling skills. And he's also, apparently, a good leader and has a very strong work ethic. So let's look at his early career. So he started his footballing career at Birmingham City, where he made his professional debut at the age of 16. Now, he quickly became a key player for the Brummies, and he was named Birmingham's Young Player of the Year in 2019. That doesn't feel long ago, but because of all COVID all getting in the way, it just, it's starting to feel a little bit like time's moved by pretty quickly. So in 2019 he became the player of the year there, and in 2020 is when he moved to Borussia Dortmund. He moved there for a fee of £25 million, and he made an immediate impact at that club. And he was named Bundesliga Rookie of the Year in 2021. Now, a little bit about his international career. He's been a key player for England. He's made his debut in 2021, and he's since made 24 appearances, scoring 1 goal, providing 1 assist, and receiving no cards at all. And in that time, he's amassed 1,508 minutes of playing time for England. I mean, he's still only 19 years old, so his international career is still new. He's a baby to the international footballing realms. So, what about his style of play? How could he fit in at United? Let's say we do get him. So if you've not watched him, he's a very dynamic midfielder who likes to get forward and create chances. So Bellingham's style of play has been compared to the former Borussia Dortmund midfielder Nuri Sahin. Now, both players are strong runners with good stamina, and they're both able to play in a variety of positions, because that's what United really want. I mean, we want a versatile player. Additionally, both players, so that's Bellingham and Sarin, are gifted passers with good vision. However, Bellingham is more physical than Sahin was, and he's also a better dribbler, so he can dribble the ball better. Bellingham's strengths include his passing, dribbling, tackling and work ethic, and as I mentioned before, he's also apparently a very good leader on the pitch and in the dressing room, and he just set some standards for a 19-year-old. This lad must have a very strong work ethic and mentality. And if you didn't know, he's already the captain of Borussia Dortmund. Now, other strengths include his ability to win the ball back and break up play. I mean, ultimately, he could be, at 19 years old, the complete midfielder who can do it all. I mean, he's, like I mentioned before, he's versatile and he can play in a variety of positions. And I think most people may have seen him in a box-to-box type role because he's got a strong, he's got a lot of energy. He's a strong engine, this lad. And along with that, he's a strong runner. He's got a lot of stamina, and he's able to cover a lot of ground, both in attack and defensive. So basically, he can get forward quick on a counter, and he can get track back to defend and help the team defend. And he's also mixed in with all this. He's a great passer. He's got good vision, and he's able to pick out teammates with accurate passes in both short and long range. And on top of all that, as I mentioned before, he's a good dribbler, and he's not afraid to take on people, like try and beat people one-on-one. So I mentioned he's a good tackler, and he's great, just basically great at winning the ball back. I mean, this is like superlatives, isn't it? Really, sounds like we're talking like some Lionel Messi-esque Cristiano Ronaldo type player, and maybe he will reach those heights. I mean, he's only 19. So what are his weaknesses? So he, unlike everybody, he does have weaknesses. So his weaknesses include his lack of experience, really, overall. I mean, he's still only 19 years old, and his tendency to get caught out of position. So that's his positional sense. So he's been criticised for being caught out of position at times, which can leave him and his team exposed to counter-attack. So he can be a little bit eager to get forward ahead of the ball, or he's basically a hungry young man. He's a hungry young player. Who doesn't want players like that in the side at United? So people have also criticised his decision making, but he's still young and learning, and can sometimes make poor decisions on the pitch. Well, I mean, we see that all the time from experienced players. So I would hardly hold a 19-year-old up to more experienced players. He's got plenty of time. But the criticism is that can lead to turnovers in possession or missed opportunities. Now, physically, Bellingham is not the biggest. He's not the biggest stature, and he's not the strongest midfielder in the world. And he can sometimes be a little overpowered by his opponents. But these are just some of his weaknesses, and that they're the ones that you would expect him to overcome in the future or the near future. And as I said, it's important to remember that he's only 19 years old. He's plenty of time to improve in all of these areas in his game. So with experience and coaching, he has potential to become one of the best midfielders in the world, if he is not already. It's hard to think whether, maybe calling someone of that age group, 19 years old, maybe saying they were one of the best in the world puts people under too much pressure. Just let him play his game. So as I mentioned, this video is also about Casimero and how the two players, if Bellingham were to sign for United, how they compare and how they could gel. So let's not focus too much on Bellingham. Let's talk about Casemiro. So did you know that Casemiro's full name is Carlos Henrique Jose Francisco Venancio Casimero? That's a long name. And as you know, he is a Brazilian midfielder who plays as a CDM for Erik ten Hag. So he's 30 years old, but he's still one of the best, if not the best, defensive midfielder in the world. That's kind of my opinion. I think he's the best defensive midfielder in the world right now. And he's known for his tackling and ball winning skills, but he's also an excellent passer and dribbler. And basically, since signing last season, he's quickly become a key member of the United team and helped us win the Carabao Cup earlier this year. So his early career, Casemiro started his career at Sao Paulo, where he made his professional debut at the age of 18. And he quickly became a player for the club, and he helped them to the Copa Libertadores in 2012. And that was before he moved to Real Madrid in 2013. So he moved to Real Madrid in 2013 for €6 million. What a steal. And he made an immediate impact in Spain. And since he'd won 4 Champions League titles, 2 La Liga titles, and 2 Copa del Reys. Wow, that guy knows how to win. So obviously on August the 19th last year, he signed for United. United announced that it surprisingly, almost like out of the blue, I don't think there was any rumour at the time, that United had signed Casimero. So 3 days later, he signed a 4-year contract with the club with an option for an additional year's extension. So the deal was worth £60 million, and there was a £10 million add-on. So his first game for United was when he came on as a substitute in the Premier League win against Southampton on the 27th of August. I mean, what can you say about this guy? It's no exaggeration that he's been an extremely influential player since joining. However, he has been sent off twice and received 2 bans at pivotal points in the season, and that has led to some fans vocally, or online or wherever, mention that maybe he's a bit of a liability and causes more problems than he fixes. Now, but my opinion about that is those to those fans, and there's a message to those fans. Do you not remember what it was like before we had a CDM in the team? Surely your memories aren't so short. Calling out Casimero as a bad influence is justified. Come on. That's ridiculous. We needed a CDM for at least 3 seasons. We were getting overrun in midfield. We couldn't protect the back 4. Yeah, we had Maguire and Lindelof together. Maguire being more of the problem. But the CDM we needed, and since we've had him in the side, our results have improved. Yes, we've got Varane and Varane. We had Varane already, but Varane, and he was partnered by Martinez. But ultimately, it was the signing of CDM, Casimero, that helped the side settle in the midfield area. Yes, it's still a work in progress. But what about Casemiro's international career? So he's been a key player for Brazil's national team since he made his debut in 2015. And since then, he's made 70 appearances, scoring 7 goals and making 3 assists. He's received 18 yellow cards, though. No red, I should say. No red. But he's amassed 5,247 minutes of playing time since 2015 for Brazil. That man has got to be a legend in that country. Proper legend. So, what about Casemiro's style of play? As you know, Casimero is more of a defensive-minded midfielder. He likes to sit back. He likes to protect the defence. I mean, he's good at tackling and winning the ball back. He's also a good passer and dribbler for a defensive midfielder. His style is very similar to you might not agree with me here, but here we go. It's all about opinion football. His style of play is very similar to Sergio Busquets and N'Golo Kante's. So he's a hard-working player who's always willing to put a shift in for the team. He's also a very intelligent player like Busquets and Kante. He reads the game well, and he knows when to make a tackle and intercept a pass. What more do you need from a CDM? Now, as I mentioned, Casemiro is a key player for United, and his presence in the midfield is often the difference between winning and losing games. I 100%, that is what I think. I mean, yes, since he come back from that last ban, it hasn't quite been up to the same level, but, it's been a long season. And he's a valuable asset to the team, and his style of play is perfect for the Premier League. He hit the ground running. He didn't need a season to get used to it. He's just that experienced player who knows how to play football. He came in and he took us all by storm. So here's some of Casemiro's strengths. So tackling. Casemiro's good at tackling. He's also strong and aggressive, and he's not afraid to put his body on the line. Reminds me of the days of Brian Robson. He wasn't afraid to put his body on the line, and he was a midfielder too. He's also good at reading the game and timing his tackles. Well, can be sometimes that's gone wrong, which have led to cards, or is that more just down to the individual referee at the time? So as I mentioned, he's good at making interceptions and has a good sense of positioning, and he's always alert to danger. So if you watch Casimero when he's playing, he's always looking over his shoulder, he's always looking ahead of himself. He tries to be 100% aware of what's going on and around him all the time during a game. And I noticed that the minute, from moment one, he stepped onto the pitch for United, how much more aware he was of the opponents on the pitch than, let's say, McTominay or Fred, who were just a little bit more headless chicken running around wise. So Casemiro's obviously great ball, winning the ball back when play turns over. He's strong, he's aggressive, and he's not afraid to put his body on the line, which I've already said. And he's good at timing and reading the game. His distribution also isn't that bad either. So he can get, now and again, he can get a little bit forward and be a bit more, get involved in the attacking play, and is able to distribute the ball across the pitch. And he has scored a goal or two for United already, in his first season. So his long passes as well, they're good. And I think overall he's really a great addition to the side. So his defensive positioning, as I said, they're good. He knows where to be on the pitch. He's always alert to danger. He's good at reading the intentions of opponents, and anticipating where his teammates should or will be. What about Casemiro's weaknesses? So I think his weaknesses are he does have a lack of pace, and he does have a tendency to get booked too much. Offensively, he's not the most attacking-minded player, but he is a CDM. And he's not the most effective dribbler. I was going to say dribbler also. But I don't particularly care about whether he's a good goal scorer or he can dribble and all that kind of thing. Ultimately, we have him in the side for a purpose, and we want him to do that. Okay, he can be quite an aggressive player, and he's been booked numerous times this season. So I think he just needs to learn to control his aggression in order to avoid getting sent off. The Premier League, obviously, is very different than the Liga, because the guy went over 500 games in the Liga with no red cards. Off the top of my head, he's probably played, 30? He's in the 30s games-wise for United now, and he's been sent off twice, so that tells you a few things. Injury-wise, he has been a little injury-prone in the past at Real, but thankfully for United, we've not seen much of that so far. So overall, Casemiro is one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. He's strong, aggressive, and intelligent. And he's one of our key players and a valuable asset to the team. But remember, this video is also about Bellingham and what he could bring alongside Casemiro. So what could Bellingham bring to United? So let's talk about this kind of ongoing kind of Real Madrid thing first. So Madrid is said to have set a starting price for Bellingham. However, at the time of filming this video, they are not currently willing to match Dortmund's €150 million asking price. And it's rumoured, as part of the talks, that their opening bid was a club record €120 million. And that they could still walk away if that is not accepted. Now, I know the news is saying that the deal is close, but everything has to be agreed before a deal is done. So United may be able to compete with Real Madrid for the signature of Bellingham. A bit wishful thinking, I know, but we want great players. We want good players and players for the future. But all of that will depend on what happens with the ongoing battle over the club. Who's going to own it? Right now it feels like time is running out. And until that is finally resolved, I can't predict what may happen or what the funds Erik ten Hag will have. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So who's the better player, Bellingham or Casemiro? It's difficult to say who's the better player, as they both have different strengths and weaknesses. Obviously, Bellingham is younger, he's more dynamic. Casemiro is more experienced and reliable. But personally, I think Bellingham is the more exciting of the two to watch. Why? Oh, I think he's got all the tools to be a world-class midfielder. And I think he will only get better, obviously, as he gains experience. However, Casimero is still a very good player. You know, possibly the best in the world at CDM in that position. He's a specialist. And I think he'll continue for the next few seasons to be a valuable member of the Manchester United's team, first team. Ultimately, though, the best player for the team will depend on what the manager needs, obviously. If he needs a defensive-minded midfielder who can break up play and win the ball back, well, obviously Casemiro's your man. However, if he needs a more attacking-minded midfielder who can create chances and score goals, Bellingham obviously is the better option. So ultimately, if Bellingham and Casemiro play together, Bellingham could use his passing and dribbling skills to create chances for the team. Pretty obvious, obviously. While Casemiro would continue in his defensive skills role to protect the back line, which is what he does so well. But Bellingham could also learn a lot from Casemiro about how to be a successful defensive midfielder. Because don't get me wrong, I mentioned earlier in the video, Bellingham has and can play in that CDM role. So he could learn from Casemiro and they could be together a very successful midfield partnership. They have different strengths, they have different weaknesses, but they could complement each other very well, in my opinion. However, on reflection, I see Bellingham as becoming the ultimate versatile midfielder. His focus may be on attack, but ultimately he'll become the ultimate versatile midfielder. After all, he's adept at playing as an 8, so attacking central midfielder. He can play as a CDM. He can also play on the right of the wing. And Ten Hag's been experimenting this season, so it's possible he'd play him on the left as well, just to see how versatile he can be. So now we just need to beat Real Madrid to his signature. And I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. Do you think United have a chance? Do you think we have no chance? Would you like Bellingham at the club? Would you pay up to 150 million euros for him, or do you think that's too much? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please smash a like on the video too. And if you don't subscribe, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.